Alright, today we're going to talk a little bit about the UFO pistons that have just been released for, or about to be released for RC shocks. Um, Basically what I've come up with is a system, a piston that will allow you to get the best of both worlds, at least in between anyway. We've already got our world famous two-stage pistons that have been selling for over a year now, and at record numbers. Very good product. So I decided to come up with something new for you indoor racers and hard pack guys that were finding that the two-stage pistons didn't quite give you the feel that you were used to, that you just didn't like. So what I have here is the UFO piston. One of the main differences you'll immediately notice is that they're thicker. Your standard piston is about 0.093, whereas the UFO piston is 0.220. The reason why I came up with that was I noticed when I was testing two-hole pistons, which by the way work very well in big bore shocks, to get them to feel right, they had a tendency to want to slap, especially on the bigger jumps. But anywhere except that, they were very good. So I decided to do a little research and came up with what is a simple concept. It works, can't argue with physics. The thinner that you have, the faster the oil will go through it. Therefore, the thicker you have, the slower the oil will go through it. What that relates to in RC is that you'll get more pack with a thicker piston. Simple as that. But it comes down a little bit more to that because you can get the best of both worlds because of the thickness of the piston, you can run a bigger hole size and still not worry about chassis slapping at the same time. Now, a bigger hole size and thinner fluid is going to make the car more responsive through the rough stuff and will be a little bit more agile. Another thing that you'll notice on the UFO pistons, they look like a double piston, and here's the reason why. Your normal shock piston on an E-clip style anyway has a lot of, not a lot of play, but a little bit of play in there. So in essence, your shaft is floating from the piston and they kind of separate themselves as far as that, except for up and down movements. Well, what happens inside the shock, and everybody knows that on a nitride-coated shock shaft, you get a wear spot. This one that I'm holding now has the same wear spot. Well, that's because you get this. You get that because the shaft is not, the only contact points are the piston and basically the O-rings that seal the end of the shock body. So you get a lot of that. Well, because the UFO pistons have a very tight fit, basically they're press-on, and it gives you a really snug fit, and because there are 2 points of contact, your shaft is actually locked onto the piston, and because the piston can't wobble around inside the shock body, you lose a very considerable amount of shaft play on the end of it, which equals a lot smoother action, a lot longer lasting shock shafts, and basically just makes your car a lot smoother. Now, for those of you who are concerned with the thickness of the piston, well, like I stated before, I've been selling the two-stage pistons for over a year now, and they are about 200 thousandths thick. Not quite as thick as the UFO pistons, but very thick compared to what you're normally used to. Now, I also have a can't see on this video, but the inside of the piston has a slight radius in there to match the bladder if you run bladder style. If you run emulsion style piston shocks, then you don't really have to worry about it anyway. Most of us have to limit the travel on the shock to keep from bending out drives or breaking diff shafts or diff cups for that reason. And so there you have it, UFO pistons coming at you soon.